Welcome to the Horological Society of New York. I'm Andrew, and this is Watch the West. Founded back in 1866, we're lucky because a collection, formerly from the Smithsonian, is on display. James Arthur was an Irish immigrant who formed his own machinist company by 1885. A longtime collector and writer of timepieces, he was an inveterate tinkerer with a refined but eclectic taste. This quarter-repeating pocket watch is a great example. Arthur has actually removed the dial to better appreciate the complicated movement underneath. Coincidentally, the HSNY is housed in the Historic Machinists and Tradesmen Guild Hall in Midtown Manhattan. Entrance is free, but tours must be booked in advance on the website. Link in the description. The Society hosts a research library and prominent lectures. Francois Paul Journe and Roger Smith have each presented here. The Arthur collection is on loan from the National Association of Watch and Clock Collectors for the remainder of the winter 2023. The Society can be supported through an annual membership. Even if you're rarely in New York City, it may be worth it for the stack of included magazine subscriptions alone. Let's look at some of my favorite pieces from the exhibit. The star of the show must be this 1709 pocket watch by the father of English clockmaking, Thomas Tompion. His work has always commanded a premium. This example has a condition issue, missing the original tortoiseshell or possibly leather outer casing. Arthur was an adaptable collector, something I can certainly appreciate in today's market. He wanted a Tompion, and a little cosmetic defect wasn't going to get in his way. This collection, after all, is all about the mechanics. Truly artistic workmanship. Notice the plate and the balance cock are both engraved. That's also a natural diamond end stone on the balance pivot. This is, after all, long before synthetic jewels came around. This was hand-built by an old master in 1709. It's a humbling piece if you take the time to look. In the same case is a falsely signed Breguet that's over 200 years old. What's it doing in a museum, you might ask? Well, counterfeits are nothing new, and Abraham Louis Breguet, watchmaker to Marie Antoinette, it was and still is the most famous name in the business. Authentication was far more difficult back then, when watches were unique and completely handmade. The Science Museum in London has a couple of these on display as an example of the shadier side of the early industry. Arthur subsequently added his own machine engraving to this example's dust cover. The curator believes that he was likely aware before purchase, but I have another hypothesis. Maybe Arthur fell for that classic collector, too good to be true trap. Then, with the watch in hand, he goes, well, might as well mod it. It's not a real Breguet, so no harm done. We have an image of James Arthur's own 1901 long case clock. The collection reflects his love of subdials, like this scientific pocket watch and dual time movement. Top left is an English watch rebadged to Edward Pryor in order to evade Ottoman customs. These Priory watches became very popular amongst the elite. Here's a Thomas and a George Pryor, both equally fictional, in Istanbul's Topkapi Palace. Note that Ward's Priory watch still resembles Tompion's earlier work in terms of decoration and construction. Scooching around to the regular collection, and wow, there's a lot of research material here. This American Elgin dates to the Second World War, and who doesn't love a good marine chronometer? This one features a power reserve. The gimbaled mahogany box both protects the movement and helps offset the deviation caused by gravity in rough seas. While it looks like an oversized pocket watch, this is a precision piece of naval equipment and uses a different form of escapement. Then we have the magical Atmos clock from Jaeger-LeCoultre, tricky to pronunciation, so feel free to say JLC like the rest of us. The Atmos is powered by changes in atmospheric temperature. It's as close as we get to perpetual motion, but quite finicky. A hot summer's day like this one will throw off the timekeeping. Beautiful finishing by the watchmaker's watchmaker. I love the simplicity of just having the model name on the dial. Next up, some odds and ends from the Arthur collection. This mass-market West clocks really spoke to me. A former curator found it on the grounds of NYU in 1930. Certainly speaks to the eccentricity of this collection. But I review many affordable watches, and I'm sure at the outset of the Great Depression, losing this was a real kick in the gut. Finally, an antique turret clock made in Boston, Massachusetts. Accurate, affordable watches weren't widespread until the 1900s. This would have been mounted in a church or town hall, providing time to the working public. That's it for the main room, focused on exhibits and meetings. The Horological Society of New York maintains a collection of antique but fully functional lathes and turning engines. Locals can also take advantage of watchmaking classes using Swiss Unitas movements in this very well-appointed workshop. If you can't tell, I'm a bit jealous. Thanks again to the HSNY and the NAWCC for the opportunity to film, and thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.